Hey guys, so this is the first in my London travel series. This is my #1 tip on planning a trip, especially if you don't plan to have data on your phone, and that is to get a London Moleskine. So I had one of these when I lived in Washington, DC to do an internship there. So I knew when I went to London for graduate school, I had to get one for London. I'm not sure what all cities they have them for, but if you're going to a big city, it might be worth a check to see if they have it. The camera doesn't want to focus, but it says London right here. On the end, it's very subtle, it's just embossed. Mine's kind of beat up because I carried it around for a whole year while I was there. So it's not blank like a lot of the Moleskines are. So I'm just going to give you a little flip through. So first it has the traditional Moleskine, you know, your name and what the reward is if somebody finds your Moleskine for you. Then it has this really great quote. For every traveler who has any taste of his own, the only useful guidebook will be the one which he himself has written, by Aldous Huxley, whoever that is. Then it has some room for your personal data. Then, like, the best part to me are the maps that come in it. So here in the very front is a fold out London tube map. This is how you will get around. So you want to get an Oyster card if you're going to be there more than a couple of days, but I'll have a video with all those kind of tips later. And this is super easy color-coded map. Sometimes you can get one, like you can grab one to throw in your backpack or your purse, but I liked having it in here. And then there's a map of the whole of London, which is big, and this is just to let you know like the general areas. Then each of these gray boxes, there's an additional map that is zoomed in on that area. So for example, this is near St. John's Wood, and so you can see all of the street names and the parks and the rivers. And this is how I got around. I did not have a smartphone. I had one of those cheap burner phones because I was a poor graduate student. And so this map is how I got around without having data or being able to use Google Maps or anything like that. And so what I've been doing recently, let me see if I can show you a good page. Maybe this page is the best, is I've been adding, I used a pen for this originally, but it kind of is hard to keep up with, and now that I have my silhouette, I have had fun making these little bitty stickers to show different places and where they are on this little map. And then I kind of boldened some, like that's the British Museum, some of the bigger landmarky type places. So that's how I have been embellishing these pages to get ready. And then there's like 3 different bookmarks. So you can bookmark different places. But the maps are only for central London, which for most tourists is all you're gonna want anyway. But we will be staying in Richmond, which is like it's the farthest you can go on the tube in West London. And so it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. People just live there. It's not really a tourist thing. Like there's a couple of touristy things there, but so when I was a student in London, I lived in more the Jack the Ripper side of London, in southeast London, and this is West London, where there's like trees and a river and men building boats and artists painting on easels and bicyclists. And I'm not kidding, the first time I went there, that is the exact vista I saw, and many times afterward, depending on the weather. So we are very lucky to have an Airbnb there, but Richmond, because it's not really part of the main city center, it's like outer London, is not in this book. So I have added myself some cheeky little maps. So I screen capped these from Google. I printed them on sticker paper and I stuck them right in, and each is its own sheet. So like it's cut down the middle. Like this is one giant sticker and this is one giant sticker, so that it doesn't have any paper in the fold. And I did a little bit of photoshopping just to kind of eliminate some of the locations, you know, just so that what I wanted to see was on the map versus what Google wanted me to see. So I kind of grayed out a few things that I didn't want. So I made my own little overview. Like I said, I've been totally geeking out over this trip. And I love London so much. I love Richmond especially. And I didn't really get to explore it that much, but it was my favorite getaway. I would go every Sunday and see trees because where I lived in London was just like concrete and graffiti and it was really scummy. So anyway, I added Richmond. Next, I'm going to add Greenwich because Greenwich is also kind of out of the main part of London, but that's where the I think it's called the Royal Observatory probably. That was really close actually to where I did live for a whole year, but I never went there because it seemed like I could go anytime because it was so close. So for this trip, we are gonna go. And then there are tabs. I made these labels, they were icons, and I didn't want to use all the icons that they had. So I just added these two. I printed them out. And so I have an area for food, for art, for theater, for I'm not reading that right. For food, for tea, for theater, for art, for shopping, and for history. And these are some of the notes I had from when I lived there, but I'm gonna add a few more. And then in the back, I added a section for Richmond and for Greenwich because those are places that I know that we're gonna wanna see. And I wanna put, you know, opening times for when things are open and where we can go shopping and eat. And there's still more tabs here. So these are just really basic lined pages in the back part. So you just, what I did before I moved there, is I looked up Rick Steves' travel guide. So if you want a travel guide that will tell you where to go and what's worth seeing and that kind of thing, I would suggest that. So Rick Steves' travel guide, I read through that for like hours and then I would copy down the addresses and the opening times and the cost and things like that. And then that's pretty much it. They have these like tear out pages in the back. I'm not really sure. It calls it loose notes. I never used these. But they're there, like if you just need a scrap of paper for something, I guess. And then of course, because it's a Moleskine, it has this little pocket in the back. So if you're only going to be in central London, this pretty much has everything you need as far as trying to get around. I got around really easily just using this bad boy, and it's so small, it fits in your purse really easily. Or you can add maps like I did, or you could add maps to your own notebook, but it's super easy and useful that they make this little guy. So that is my #1 tip for traveling in London, especially without a cell phone or without data on your phone. I have one more tip, and that one I didn't prepare a visual for, so I used this, and occasionally, like I said, I would have to go to an area that was not within central London, and so I still needed a map. And I didn't want to have to go to the library and print a map, so what I did is I would get on my computer or on my phone, like within a Wi-Fi area, and I would look up the map and I would screen capture it. Now I think there's this new way where you can actually save maps to your phone, so that might be something to look at too. But the thing that I love about this is that it doesn't use your battery life and it's gonna be there no matter what. Where, you know, when you have maps on your phone, you're also wanting to use your phone as a camera and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling now, but I have been really like remembering how much I lived with this thing when I was a student. You can see like the edges where I've added those extra pages. It's kind of bulked it out a little bit, but it's still manageable. So I'm just gonna add a couple more maps for Greenwich, and yeah, I'm super excited. We're gonna try to vlog like the whole trip. So I can't wait to share it with you guys. I can't wait to share my favorite places. I've kind of wanted to blog about a lot of this stuff, but I was there in 2011, which doesn't feel like a long time ago, but it was in the world of technology. So Instagram was brand new. You had to use filters, and the photos are like tiny and blurry compared to what we have now, because it was like, I think I had the iPhone 3, so like now when you take a picture, it's pretty much high quality, but back then it seemed good at the time for a phone camera, but I can't really use those photos for blogs or Instagram or YouTube because they aren't that great. So I'm excited to retrace my steps and then come back and tell you guys about all my favorite cafes and favorite haunts from the time I lived in London, and take Nathan there because he's never been out of the country. And so I am super excited. If you have any favorite places in London or any travel tips that you'd like to share, please put them down in comments below. And thanks for watching. If you want more videos like this, be sure to click subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!